What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 4 of the Tony V Project. Yes, I said project, not experiment. 3 episodes in, we decided to change the name. So we are now the Tony V Project, but I'm super stoked. Got my boy Pat Dietz.
What's up, everybody?
Joining me today. And got a lot for you guys. We got a completely different concept we're going to throw your way this time. My original guests we postponed, and they're coming in next week. But of course, Pat comes through as always. So we got this rapid fire 10-question thing that I think everyone's going to enjoy. So that's going to be the nuts and the bolts of what we're going to do today. So it should be a lot of fun. But before we get to that, I wanted to make the very first announcement of the book that I've been writing now for some time. For anyone who knows, it's probably been about 12, 18 months in the making, and it's gone through a handful of different iterations over that time. And one of the biggest missing links that I was struggling with over that time was the fact that I had tons of content, but I was lacking the glue, the theme, to A, tie it all together, and to B, be able to tie it into the title of the book. And just before Christmas, called an epiphany, or the light bulb that went off. It came to me, and it has been gangbusters since then, and the book is just firing along. It is going to be called The Legacy Mindset, and I'm super pumped, super excited about it. The concept, guys, is really just the mindset that it takes to be successful. It's about reprogramming your mind, reverse engineering the decisions you make for the legacy that you want to build. So it's about defining your legacy, learning how to define what it is that you want at the end of your road, however it is that you interpret success. It talks about a thing called a legacy pyramid, which is all of the personality traits and skills that I believe are necessary for each and every person to develop to train that mindset for success. So much more to come. If everything goes well, I'm going to hopefully have the entire thing done by the end of January, maybe mid-February at the latest, and then on to the whole editing, publishing, all that stuff. So anyway, super excited. I'm going to keep you guys updated as more information comes out. But that is that. Let's get to what is going to be, in my opinion, a really fun episode here with Pat Dietz. Pat, why don't you give him a little bit of a rundown of who you are, what you do, and how this episode is going to be fucking fire.
Basically, I'm the membership director here at Afterburn Fitness. I handle all the memberships. Afterburn Fitness Valencia, excuse me. Before that, I was a trainer here. I taught class for a couple of years, and the position became open as we opened our second gym. I was into some high school teaching and coaching high school football, which we'll go over. And I took over that position. I've been in it now. This May will be 3 years. I love it. I feel like I get to go to work with my friends, but also have good leadership. So here we are today.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be a guest here. We always like to laugh.
Have
more
a good
than
time.
Anything, have a good time, and I definitely have a few questions that are going to be pretty funny in here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so everyone knows these questions. So we kind of came up with 9 or 10 each. How this is going to work is it's literally going to be like one of those like hot seat type things. We're going to go back and forth, fire them off. Well, we're going to try to keep each other on each other's toes. So nobody knows what the questions are. So the answers to these things are going to be live, real, and definitely one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to bring Pat on here is I believe that sports and what makes someone successful in athletics has a lot to do with what makes someone successful in life in general. And I think his background in coaching and also being a teacher and being able to relate to kids and see kind of the things that make them good or not good. And I think it's going to bring a lot of value, and I'm excited to fire off these questions. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm definitely ready because I've definitely had some things I've wanted to ask you, especially business related. Since you have been a successful business owner, I kind of have always wondered what some challenges were that we maybe never got to sit down and ask. So I'm just going to fire off with number one.
Let's go.
You were a personal trainer before you opened this place. I've been there, done that. The cold mornings,
God, yes.
People flaking last second,
Yep.
Maybe someone not giving their best effort because they're having a bad day. So at what point when you were a trainer, and maybe it was your goal before, but at what point were you like, you know what, I'm tired of this one-on-one session stuff. I'm going to open up a gym where I don't have to really have one-on-one sessions. I can teach classes. We can have variety. What was that light bulb moment, I guess, for you?
This is a good one. It's going to be fun. I just hope that Jeremy's got enough memory on that tape for all the. This might not be a 20-minute episode. So, honestly, I've always been someone that has the desire to strive for more, to continue to progress. The idea of being stagnant in any frame of reference, whether it's fitness related, business related, whatever. I just that's part of me. Mm-hmm. So the same thing happened when it came to training and fitness and business and all that. So every single year I was trying to grow my business, introduce new things that would, help propel me to that next level. And I got to a point where there was really no more growth potentially from a standpoint of, all right, my home base is Santa Clarita, Valencia, and the income level here versus the income level, say, in Beverly Hills, Malibu, there's a cap. So I'm only going to be able to charge X amount of dollars per person for personal training, which means, and I can only work so many hours in a week. I mean, even if I grind out 80 hours, I can still only work 80 hours. Mm-hmm. So, 80 hours times X amount of dollars per hour, that's as much as I can do. And so it was, all right, I have to, move somewhere, which sounds like a horrible idea, where you can charge more per hour and have the clientele in that's a little bit higher, or B, do what I started to fall in love with as I was doing personal training, which is the business side. And it was something that I'd always wanted to do, and and really that moment became to where I got to that point. So every single year I had more clients, worked more hours, became more successful, and then I hit that cap. And that was the moment where I was like, okay, it's stay stagnant and stay here, or take a leap of faith and jump and take the money that I had saved up and risk it for the potential to do more, be more, whatever. And I remember for the longest time, I was scared shitless. It was... here's every dime I've ever saved over the past 4 years or whatever it had been. And there was a feeling of, what could happen if I failed and start over, whatever. And it was super weird. And I wish I could give the answer to everybody watching, to you, mm-hmm. to Jeremy here, and tell you this is what made me switch. This is the light bulb, or what caused the light bulb to go off and make it happen. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but I will never forget waking up one day and the fear and everything else that I had, it became like this absolute confidence. Not that I was even going to succeed. I mean, obviously I was going to do everything in my power to do so. Right. But it became this confidence to make the jump. There wasn't another fucking choice. And I think that it has something to do with one of my biggest fears, if not my biggest fear, which is the fear of regret, mm-hmm. which is the idea of waking up 30 years down the road and saying, what if? I think that is what said, there is no other choice. And so that was the light bulb that went off and said, let's roll, let's go.
Okay. That's a great fucking answer.
All right. Come back at you,
okay,
Mr. Coach. So, participation.
Yes.
So, I played sports. You played sports your entire life.
Yeah.
I know my opinion on the matter, but I want to talk to you about the whole concept. Is it blown out of proportion? Do you think that? What is your opinion on the idea that kids and teams outside of the top three, the best, whatever, all getting trophies for playing in said league?
So you're asking me how do I feel about like someone getting a trophy for fourth place or fifth? There's every single team across the board.
Correct.
Is getting some kind of reward for not finishing in the top three.
Correct. The worst player on the team gets the same trophy. Outside of, I'm sure there's like MVPs of,
Right.
every single team. But I'm saying still every person on the team, regardless of skill, regardless of effort, gets a trophy. Every team, regardless of place, gets a trophy.
Got it.
That concept.
The concept of it is nice in itself at a younger age. I'm actually okay with it. A lot of people aren't. Like, people they have an 11-year-old youth football team and they don't feel like every kid should get a participation trophy. I feel like at that age, anytime where you can keep the kids positive and enjoying the sport, I think that's okay. But as they get older, it's definitely something that I've noticed at the high school ranks. We do these passing tournaments over the summer, these 7-on-7 tournaments. And I remember when I played in them, it was pretty much you either did well or you didn't. You got your lunch handed to you, you go home. Now, all these tournaments we play in, there's a gold bracket, a silver bracket, a bronze bracket. And as a coach, if we're not playing in the gold bracket, I don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
I would hope as a player,
You don't want to
when
be
you
there.
get older, you don't want to play in the bronze bracket. You want to go home, figure out what happened, and improve your team. So as far as people are saying the participation trophy mantra, as they would say, I feel like it's important for kids to get some notoriety, even if they may not be the best player on the team or the best team in the league. I think up to a certain age, like 5th, 6th grade.
I was going to ask that. So what do you think that mark is?
I think at some point, like maybe before the junior high age, I think it's important to learn to take losing and figure out how you can improve. There are still ways that I lost. I coached football last year where there were still a few losses that I couldn't swallow. But at the end of the day, instead of saying, sitting there and pouting, I had to go home and fix that and figure out how can we get better. Look at myself in the mirror and figure out, hey, how can I help the team achieve a victory instead of, that we lost and, it's just, that's the way it is. I just feel like once you hit 7th, 8th grade, I think it should be the way it's always been, 1st through 3rd. And if you're not cutting it, you either need to improve or maybe find something else that you like.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, yeah, and I'm with you, and obviously, and I'm kind of along the same lines as you. I think, handing out, a trophy to a 5 or a 6-year-old, I don't really see the harm in that.
Yeah.
But there definitely is. There's got to be a turning point in which that doesn't happen anymore, because it's setting people up for failure later on down the road in life, because there's nothing else in life where you get a participation trophy for everything. Not in school, not in business, not in your career, nothing. It's the winners win and the losers lose, and that is life.
Exactly. And they take the prize and you don't. That's why I was saying about that bronze division. Like, how can you go home if you're a high school football player and go home and your parents are like, how'd the tournament go? Oh, we won the 3rd place division. The teams that all went 0-3 in their pool play, we won that. Like, what? I would be like, no, we sucked today.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion.
And how can you learn to take loss and deal with loss?
Yeah.
And I think the whole idea why you have, all these, kids or people coming into their, 19s, 20, young 20s, and all of a sudden they're experiencing that for the first time, and they don't know, and they're, there's pouting and complaining and whatever because they were never ever trained on how to fucking take a loss.
Not how to take a loss, and it's
not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, and you see a lot of people just give up instead of figure out a way to bounce back, and that's what I hate seeing the most. And I think that is, when people talk about participation trophies, that is the one thing that has kind of killed some sport, is it just teaches kids, well, if I don't win and I don't get anything for it, why keep going? Where's the end game to that?
Well, it's why keep going.
Yeah.
It's, if I'm getting something anyways, why go home and work on my footwork and work on, you know what I mean? All these elements that make you better.
Exactly.
There's no incentive to do better.
False sense of reality when you get participation trophies, for sure. Yeah, so
cool.
That's a good question. I like this one. As a successful business owner, and you don't have to name names or any businesses, but what are 3 things that you have seen or consistently seen that other businesses do that maybe not make them fail, but maybe fall behind early, or maybe they had some success early, but then they kind of let things go and slide? What are the main 3 things you think you've seen, maybe off the top of your head? It doesn't even have to be like a full-blown example, just 3 maybe words, even powerful words that you've seen other maybe business owners have where it could have been something, but they did something that kind of screwed the pooch, essentially.
So I'll start off with this, and I'm not sure if I'm answering your question exactly, but I think that 80%, right, of businesses fail.
Right.
And I'm throwing out random. It might even be small businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people open it and they shut their doors in 6, 12, 18 months, whatever it is. And it happens over and over and over again. And I think one of the biggest, not problems, but the wrong piece of advice someone can give to someone else is like, just work your ass off. It's not that you can't or you shouldn't. It's that that's not enough.
Right.
I refuse to believe that 100% of the 80% of businesses that fail simply are lazy.
Right.
I believe there are plenty of people that risk it all, that fucking are up until 3 a.m. working and grinding it out and doing whatever is necessary, and they wake up the next morning and they still fail. And I think there's not. It's the old adage of like, yeah, if I tell you to go work on your golf swing and grind your face off and hustle and work hard and do it 12 hours a day, but if your mechanics are off, then you're not gonna get any better. You're just gonna make it worse. And so I don't think people spend enough time on developing the foundation of what makes someone successful. And I think probably worse off is most people don't have the self-awareness to realize what it is that they're actually good at. And go back to participation trophies. Maybe their mom fucking told them that you're great, honey, at this. And I think self-esteem is a hugely important factor, along with self-awareness. They're actually the 2 traits at the bottom of the legacy pyramid thing for the book. That without those 2 pieces of foundation, like you have nothing. But self-esteem is different from your parents or your friends or whoever lying to you about what you're good at. Knowing what you're good at and having confidence are what will lead to success. But I think so many people don't know what they're doing. They don't spend the time training, and they get off track. And again,
time management, like bad time management.
I think that's definitely part of it. I think time management is bad. I think people get off track. I think from a business standpoint, like you can be a one-hit wonder in the music industry. You can be a one-hit wonder in in a lot of like entertainment realms, right? Yeah. You can put out one good song and then be gone the next day, but that one song or that one album could still propel you to some level of success. Even if you never put out another good album ever again. Right. In the business world, I think there's no such thing as a one-hit wonder. Right. Because it has to be a long-term sustained effort and product, or it's going to go bad. And so I think sometimes people get off track and off topic because they think that, they're going to put out, again, I'm trying to do this without naming names. I've seen it. And I've seen people that have a whatever product, but then they're just doing something for shock value. Right. Because in that instant, it's going to get them notoriety or press or whatever for their business. But it's not building the business foundation. And so, it might get you something right here and there, but then it's gonna fall off and it's going to die out.
You have to sustain the
it has to be sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I up?
You are.
On the coach thing, What's your message to parents? I want to know what your message to parents is on the things they can do that will help their kids the best. I'm not talking about coaching and training. I'm talking about, as a parent who has a kid in sports, what is your message to them on the best and worst things they can do for their child's success?
And, first things first, I don't have any kids. So, this is coming from an outsider's opinion where this answer may change once I actually hold a child of my own or something like that. But as far as me being a coach and what is best for the kids, I put myself in the parents' shoes always. And first things first, you always let them, the main thing that I've always wanted is the kid needs to love the sport. Don't have them play the sport because you love it. That is so. I've coached so many kids in football who they've pulled me off to the side and just.
The kids?
Yeah, oh yeah. Just tell me, hey coach, I'm only here because my dad and mom want me to be here. And I mean, straight from the horse's mouth. And I want to just be like, here, turn your gear in.
Yeah.
And not to quit, not to be a quitter. But this has even come from people that were starters on the team. This isn't just guys standing on the sidelines. I've asked kids, I'm like, hey, do you love football? They're like, no, not really. My parents make me play.
Wow.
So it's really important that it remains a hobby, if that makes sense.
Yep, perfect sense.
Because that's when I stopped playing sports, is when it wasn't a hobby anymore. And I wanted to get into coaching because that seemed like more fun at that point. Being an actual player, it wasn't fun for me anymore. The work became really hard. The injuries, they tallied up. And I feel like that's the same for kids, is it needs to be a hobby. It needs to be fun. You need to enjoy going. So that's really the main advice I'd give to a parent. Let the coaches coach. Sometimes we get jaded and blinded by the parent blinders, I call them, is that our kid is better than the other kids. And look,
my kid's the next LeBron James.
My kid's the next LeBron James. And the message we always convey to our parents at heart is 1% of high school athletes in this country play football in college. 1%. 1% of those college football players get drafted. Not play in the NFL, get drafted. So if you're going to come to me and say, my kid's the next this and that, well, already I can already see a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, I've always enjoyed the parents that came up to me and they introduced their kid and then let the kid kind of tell me about themselves instead of the parent giving me all the accolades of the kid. I like to hear it from the horses. I like to hear what the kid likes to do.
Yeah.
As far as what position do you want to play. You don't walk up to me like, my son's a quarterback, and I'll be like, oh, are you a quarterback? Do you enjoy it? It's okay.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. So those are my main two advice to parents is make sure that your kid is enjoying that sport, a hobby, because let's face it, most of these kids aren't going on to play this for a profession. And number two, make sure that when they are playing that you let them learn the game, let them understand what they like in the game. Don't put your self-interest ahead of your own child, because at that point they're just going to end up resenting the sport altogether.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So that's my, it's just two main things. Yeah, absolutely. 6 years Afterburn's been here.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you flat out, regarding Afterburn, what do you think has been, obviously you've had a lot of successes, but maybe a big failure that maybe stood out, and then how were you able to kind of get past it and either put it behind you, fix it, get back on the saddle instead of sitting there saying, woe is me? Does anything come off the top of your head?
So,
besides lighting the fire back there.
Right.
You shot all those sparks yourself.
Yeah, right. So here's the thing, and maybe this is the fucking secret to success, is to have failures, but keep them smaller. Because I think I fail on a micro level all the time, constantly, monthly, weekly, daily, whatever.
I want a big one.
Yeah.
I want a big one, if there has been one.
And again, maybe that's the fortunate thing, is I don't think there has been a major one. There has been stuff that is 100% held us back. But I don't think there's been anything that was literally like just a blow that, was crippling in and of itself. There was and anyone who's been here for even 3 years, let alone 6, knows the progression that we've gone through. I posted Jeremy's pictures on Instagram yesterday of the cycle studio in South Bay and some in the main gym in South Bay, and a member that used to be here a long time ago, Mary Lee Bishop, she made a comment along the lines of like, "Holy shit! Like the place looks amazing." I think she thought it was Valencia, but anyways, that's not the point. She was like, "The place looks amazing." She's like, "I remember when all the bikes were shoved in the corner, and you know what I mean? We didn't really have a spin room and blah, 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 blah." And like, it is like what we were back then and what we are now is completely different. And I think as long as you avoid, here would be my advice is, I think we've been able to avoid the big ones. If you can avoid the big ones, then all the small ones, they won't matter as long as you're willing to adapt. I think the biggest issue is less about like the smaller mistakes people make and the fact that, speaking of blinders, they put blinders on because, like, I think passion and emotion are 2 different things. I think passion is good. Passion is like the desire you have for whatever it is you're doing. Emotion is bad because now you think emotionally. Your decisions are now based on emotion versus, logic and just numbers and responses and things like that. And I think most people, I think the small ones, I actually don't think that most businesses have big ones that put them out. I think most businesses have small ones that people let fester into bigger ones, which then become big ones and shut them down because they have blinders on and they're like, well, this is what I want, this is how I want it, and this is how it needs to be. And they're not listening to the consumer and the customer and the members that are coming in, which by either not paying for something or by canceling or quitting or whatever, are essentially telling them that's not what we want.
Right.
They're building something for what they want versus what the product that the people want. Okay. And so I think keeping your focus on that and being willing to adjust and adapt is what matters.
Okay.
So
nice. I always wanted to ask that because I haven't been here the whole time since we've been open. So I was always curious, maybe opening up if there was some kind of drastic thing or anything
not
like
really.
that. Okay.
No,
just curious. That's a good thing.
Unless someone else wants to let us know where some drastic shit was that we were doing
Tony
wrong.
at Afterburn.com.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Shoot an email. Maybe we'll suggestion box. No, that's a bad idea.
Or comment in the comment section.
Right.
That's fine too.
There you go. Comment. Get us to 30 viewers.
There you go.
All right, here. I'm fired up about this one.
Oh, no.
I got a word game. Word association game.
I'm not good at this stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Not good at words?
No. They're too long, bro.
10 words.
Okay.
I'm going to fire off 10 words, and you are going to give me the first 1 or 2 words that comes into your mind as soon as you hear that. That's the game we're playing.
My palms are sweaty, folks, by the way. Here we go.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Told you it's going to be good.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Legalization.
Marijuana.
Trump.
Terrible public speaker.
Vacation.
Love them.
Vegas.
Party time. Going this weekend.
Are you?
Yep.
Oh. How'd I know that? Avatar.
I love you, Courtney.
I told you I was excited for this one. Oh. Family.
Everything.
Team.
More important than yourself.
Afterburn.
Second home.
Legacy.
What you leave behind.
Future.
Can't wait to see what it has in store.
Right home.
Okay.
I like it.
I like that Avatar one.
You like that?
Yeah, now my palms are super sweaty. So I got a good one for you. A lot of people know that you're a Raider fan. But this
Yes,
is kind of
sir.
going off topic. We've been discussing coaching. Jon Gruden, 10 years, guys. Do you think that he is worth $100 million as a fan? Being a longtime fan, I mean, the guy has a Tecmo Bowl freaking sign thing in his office.
Yes.
Do you think he's worth $100 million, or do you think that this thing is going to go upside down and fall flat on his face?
All right. So first, I have to make a comment on his press conference. So I think like the very first question that was asked, so they made the announcement, and I think the first guy that comes up, I think the question he asks him is something along the lines of like, you know, what made you, you know, jump on this opportunity? And I think his response was something along the lines of, you know, that it's time, and that his passion for football was, you know, it was firing again, and it was the Raiders calling his name. I'm like, motherfucker, it's 10 million reasons for
year.
10 years was that made, and you know, more power to him. You know, good for him. But let's be real here. But you know, I don't know. I think I have always loved Jon Gruden. I believe that the only exception to that maybe being like the Belichick guys. Belichick is a perfect example of someone who, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, who I don't really see as like that energetic motivator who really rallies around and gets his people to rally around him. He seems like he's more of like that X's and O guys, and you know, he's very blunt and to the point, but he's not the Jon Gruden. He's not that high energy.
He's different.
He's totally different.
Yeah.
But outside of him, I see so many great coaches that have the Jon Gruden personality traits. That he's the type of person that the players want to play for him because he can get on their level and he can get them fired up and all that stuff. I think the potential is there. I loved him when he was there. I was devastated when the Raiders let him go.
Traded him.
Yeah.
You never see a coach that get flat out traded.
You know, he stuck it to us the very next year with the Bucs and whooped our ass in the Super Bowl. So we had it coming. But I think the potential's there. There's a fear that I don't think it's going to live up to everything that it's going to be. I think my heart wants it to be, but I think up here I'm like it's not going to pan out. Not 100 million ways pan out.
Now, real quick, I'm gonna, because I know it's kind of a long answer, but just to bring it all around, do you think that it might not pan out because he's coaching to a different generation now?
You know, I didn't think about that. I honestly didn't think about it. I mean, it's been 15 years.
Yes.
It's been 15 years.
Just think, he probably, his few last years coaching in the NFL, Peyton Manning was still probably 2-3 years in the league. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? That was something I did not even contemplate.
Yeah.
But it's a good, I mean, it's an extremely valid point.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's changed.
Absolutely.
So,
because I'm always curious when those guys leave the game for 10, 15 years, like a Bill Cowher for the Steelers.
Yeah.
There's kind of a reason they don't come back because of the generation of kids. So I'm just curious. Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thoughts on a degree?
This is a great.
In general.
This is a really good question already.
I have a degree.
As do I.
And I don't use it for shit, at least in my day-to-day. You have a degree, and I don't believe you use it.
I don't use either of them.
Yeah. He's got multiple. For the longest time, it was always like that was what you did. Like, you want to be successful, you go to college. You get a 4-year degree, or you get your master's, or you do this. Do you think it still has the same weight that it does? What would you tell kids? What is your opinion on the importance of getting a degree nowadays?
The importance of getting a degree is, a teacher, I wouldn't be in class saying, well, if you don't go to 4 years, cool, you won't amount to anything. If you don't go to JC and continue, you won't amount to anything. I think that has changed, hopefully, and that would be my advice to kids is School's not for everybody. I know you talked about this with Nick a few weeks ago, and it's why I got out of teaching. I was teaching history to 3 kids out of 33 that cared.
Yeah.
And that's great. Those 3 kids probably will go on to get a degree and do great things, or maybe they won't. But I feel like, I guess my best advice is, having a degree now isn't as important as it was maybe 20, 30 years ago, because people will hire you entry level, and then as you have a great work ethic, you'll work your way up the pay scale for most jobs. So I think it's really important to understand what you like. You don't have to have that exact major picked out. Like, I liked coaching football, so my avenue to coach football, if it wasn't college or pro, was to coach high school. Well, what is the avenue to coach high school football? It's to become a teacher. Thus, that got me into my degree, etc. But if you're just getting a degree, again, to make your parents happy, to do whatever it is, I really hope that kids can really find it inside themselves and know that it's not the most important thing anymore, and that you really go to community college, take the general education classes, find out what you like. Okay, because you may think you want to be an accountant, and all of a sudden you take 2 business classes, and you're like, oh my God, I want to own my own business.
Yeah.
But if I go to, let's say, UCSB, they make you declare within your first year. And what if you declare business economics, and now you can't get out of it, and now you're stuck in classes studying your ass off for stuff you don't want to do anymore, and now you have a bad taste in your mouth. So like you, my degree is under my bed somewhere, I think. I don't use it. You obviously don't need one to sell gym memberships, but it definitely, the important thing that I do want people to know, if you are chasing a degree, is going to school is so important for so many other things besides having a degree. Yeah. It teaches you how to be a person in the real world. It teaches you how to make relationships. It teaches you how to talk and communicate with a superior, a la your teacher. Now that you email your teachers, it teaches you how to live with somebody. It teaches you all these other things that, mine may say bachelor in history, but underneath it, I wish it listed all those other things. Learn how to live with people, learn how to survive on his own, learn how to work a full-time job while being in school, all that stuff. So it teaches life lessons. So I wish the degree was more than just, bachelor's in psychology. It should say bachelor's in psychology and also learned how to take care of oneself, work full-time, do all these things. Okay?
No, I mean, I'm with you 180% on those other things are the real reason. If you're not going to school to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, something that has a very specific path that you must follow, I think the things that you're talking about that should be written underneath the title of the degree are by far the most important, especially in today's world. And I don't know how universities and everything are going to adjust accordingly, but it's pretty crazy to me that you go to school for business. Let's say I was going into college today, okay? We're in 2018. Mm-hmm. So I go into college in 2018. I think I want to go into business. I take all these business classes, and it takes me 4 years to get out, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm taking business classes between 2018 and 2022, if I'm smart enough to get out in 4 years, which for me, it'd probably be more like 6. So,
Same.
But let's theoretically say I get out of school in 2022. Now I go apply for a job. I get an entry-level job, hopefully, right after I get out of college. Now it's 2023. Maybe I get promoted. Now I get into, maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, right? Now I'm 25-ish, 26. And it's 2025, 2026, something like that, right? You don't think the game has changed from 2019 to 2026? 7 years has gone by since I took X business class. With the way and the speed that technology is evolving nowadays, whether it be social media or anything else, the fucking professor, who's already, when the guy who teaches you, he's 50 or 60 or 40 or whatever, so he's already behind the game. So he's probably teaching you stuff that he learned X amount of years ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. So you're learning stuff in 2018 that was relevant in 2008 for a job that you're going to get in 2026. Does that sound like an effective solution to being succcil in the real world?
I've actually never thought about that.
It does. It makes absolutely no sense.
I never thought about it.
So no, I don't think it's important.
All right, I've got a funny one here. I've got 3 more here, and 2 of them are going to be pretty funny. This one I wish I could call her in, but I'm just going to ask you since she's not here to defend herself, and you already know what's coming. You work with your wife, bro. How the hell do you do that?
That is a damn good question.
I wish she was here to defend herself and answer it. Yeah.
You know what it is? Because if people haven't asked me, let alone she's in the same damn office.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
4 feet from me. This is going to sound really weird and super simple. She's not annoying. Like, it's just, she sits at her desk. She does her thing. You know what I mean? Maybe we joke and laugh about Tank here and there. But for the 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 hours or whatever I'm at the gym for that day, like, she's doing her thing, I'm doing mine. And I think on a much smaller scale, that's the key to probably long-lasting relationships in general, is if Courtney or whoever, right, if she was not just with you 24/7, but you know what I mean, like latching on and needing you 100, like, you know what I mean, for every single hour and every minute of the day, like it would never last. Like being your own person and being independent, whether it be in a small scale within a confined room or the greater scale of the relationship as a whole, just being independent and being confident within yourself that I don't have to assure her every 5 minutes that I'm here and I love you, honey, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like that, and so it's easy.
Okay. What would her answer be that you pay her paycheck?
Yeah, exactly. It's a way to keep me at bay. I don't know. You're gonna have to get her.
I am. I'm gonna ask.
You're gonna have to get her for that one.
Absolutely. In the comment section.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Answer that in the comments, Al. It's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn.
We got a couple more here, and then we'll wrap up.
Yep.
I got 2 more. You got 2 more?
I got 2 more.
Perfect. What's your biggest fear?
You saw it, bro. I jumped out of an airplane with you. Beat it.
That's it? Is it heights? That's number 1. That's your biggest fear.
No, it's not my biggest fear. This is going to sound super cliche and dumb. My biggest fear is losing my parents and not being of this earth anymore.
Yeah.
It's just super straightforward and dumb as it sounds, but I can't, unfortunately I'm a big science guy, and I think when
it's over, it's over.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it's over, it's over. And I want to enjoy the shit out of it while I'm here. And I absolutely love being here. So the thought of it, being over one day is a motherfucker. Yeah. And having the guidance of my parents just my whole life, I don't want to get too deep or somber, but having them just there all the time, just to, if I ever need advice, I hate saying this out loud, not being able to call them one day, that's definitely the biggest fear of my life, easily. Yeah. And then heights is like the, Yeah. But I mean, obviously it doesn't scare me that much if I jumped out of a fucking plane. How high were we? 13,000 feet?
Yeah, high, man.
Yeah.
Don't open your mouth. Don't open your mouth when skydiving. I did that. Horrible.
Yeah. I have a booger dangling from my nose the whole time. Yeah, and then when they pulled the chute, the thing whipped around like a... So it's there the whole video. And, I mean, we all saw the armpit sweat before I went down, dude. That was nasty.
It was big time.
It was bad. It was bad. But, it was nice to get over the fear when I'm watching 17 and 18-year-old girls land and giggle, and I'm just over here like all scared, eating the charcuterie boards with the ladies while you guys are about to go jump. So that was an easy beat. All right. My last 2. What's a movie that inspired you, maybe, that wasn't meant for that person?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Easy answer. And I know that being a colleague of yours, I know that you love Wolf of Wall Street. And like a movie like Pursuit of Happiness, you go in,
I love that movie.
Yeah, you know that it's going to be inspirational. But like maybe like some people take inspiration from weird things. I know some people like the speech in the last Lord of the Rings that the king gives, like fires people up and it inspires them. Was there maybe a part in a movie or something that might surprise us where like you were like, it kind of got you fired up to do something? Like a lot of people, like here's an example, like Fight Club is a movie that inspires a lot of people because it's, it kind of brings out the normalness in crazy people. Yeah. So I'm just kind of, interested in it, or maybe one doesn't come to mind, or it could be a TV show even. Got him.
Yeah, you got me.
Got him.
I was doing so well. Batting 1,000, not any longer. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to make a comment in the comment section later. I'm gonna come back. Yeah, I can't think of a movie that, off the top of my head, had a speech or something that just really impacted me. I love when you said Pursuit of Happiness. I absolutely love that movie.
Oh, man, when he steps outside and just starts slow clapping at the end, I mean, you got to love that. Yeah.
It's so good.
But I knew going into that, he was going to be overcoming something, but I was just curious if he hadn't, maybe a weird movie.
I failed. I failed. I lose.
Shitty.
All right. Last one.
Yep.
Tying it in with the whole legacy mindset, the book that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want your legacy to be? Because as you just said, when it's over, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to leave?
People, again, if they don't know this, I'm not married, don't have children, but that is definitely a goal of mine in the future to have kids. And obviously, I would want my legacy to run through them. And just kind of be known as when some people put like in a program or something, who's your hero, and they put their dad, that would be something that would mean a lot to me.
That your kid put that?
That my kid put that because he learned by example, that he was able to watch and kind of learn how to be, I don't want to say how to be a good person because there's no right or wrong answer to that, but just like how to be with people and interpersonal relationships. I want my legacy to someone to be like, well, my dad was the hardest working guy I knew. He was one of the smarter guys, more level-headed guys. I want all of that. I don't want someone, because I don't have any interest in ever being a head football coach. I don't have any interest in owning my own thing. I like working for people. That's more my passion. And so my legacy would, like I said, really be what I left behind in a family of my own. Kind of everything that I've done in life is not to please him, but just so he'd be proud of me because I'm kind of living out the Dietz legacy, as douchey as that sounds. The last name, it's his last name and it dies out. So I would always want, hey, did you ever know the Dietzes, from the dad all the way down to his kids? They were all hardworking guys, sensible guys. So that would really be my legacy, is to just raise a family and have them have those values and concepts that I hold close to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be my answer to that.
Cool. Last one, bro. Let's go.
You own a gym, my man.
Oh, God.
Why do you work out? Why do you like to work out?
I don't work out right now. I don't, unfortunately, but I'm getting back. I'm getting back.
And I'm, again, sorry, Allison, but my girlfriend and her little girlfriends in her nursing cohort like to comment on the shirtless Tony V pictures that come up on
the ones from
Instagram
3 years ago.
So at some point, you did enjoy working out. So tell me, at any point, why did you... post sports, why did you enjoy continuing to work out? Was it purely because of looks, or did it make you feel?
I think myself and anybody else who works out would be lying if there wasn't some aesthetic reason to be doing it. Like, if you worked out and you felt healthy, but you still looked like shit, would you really do it? No. It's not, it sounds like a horrible proposition.
Terrible.
So that obviously is part of it. I think it becomes something that it just kind of feeds itself, like energy. You're a super high energy person. I consider myself to be a high energy person. It gives you confidence. It gives you energy. It kind of feeds itself, so that when you do it and it gives you the energy, it's just like this innate desire to do it again because of how you feel afterwards. Not just from hey, look, I look good in the mirror standpoint, but because it makes you feel fired up afterwards. It gives you the motivation to be like, all right, well, my energy is through the roof. Let's go. Let's conquer this. You know what I mean? Whatever that next thing is for the day. So, I talk about it in my book. The book is not about Afterburn. It's not about this business in particular. It's not about fitness. It's about personal development, making yourself better, the mindset necessary to succeed, to hit a very broad, generic group of people, whether you're being an entrepreneur or you're a dad who wants to build that legacy for his kid. But there is definitely a part in the book where I talk about the importance of working out and fitness, because I think from a mental standpoint, not even from a physical standpoint, it is so powerful for the confidence that it gives you, for the energy that it gives you. If you work out, I'm telling you right now, you will be a better husband, you will be a better father, you will be a better worker. Like it impacts every aspect of your life. And so I think knowing that is part of the reason why I do it, because I know it's going to make me better at everything else.
I agree with all that stuff, especially the energy thing, man. When I don't work out, my day is just cut. Like I'm ready to pass out 8 or 9 p.m. When I work out, it could be 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I'm still wide awake.
Yeah, you're ready to roll.
It's bizarre, but it's in a good way.
Yeah,
absolutely. The energy levels are through the roof.
So sign up at Afterburn.
That's right.
Come talk to this guy.
Get in. Okay. Or else
leave a comment in the comment section. We'll get you hooked up.
I'll spike you with my horn if you don't. Okay?
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely, man. It was a good time.
Appreciate it, guys. Whee! See you next week.